Fucking Ciroc, is this Puffy's drink? Fucking, we're drinking with Puffy this morning. All right. uh, I know I've been lagging on the videos and stuff like that, but I'm just dealing with school. If you've been following me, you know I just came back from New York. Um, and I was part of this Muay Thai tournament, so I was training for the tournament, and but the semester's about to end, so I'll come out with more nutrition, training, and videos to just help out, you know, to help you with your goals and stuff like that. So I put up this thing on Instagram of asking some questions, and so I'm gonna answer them right now. First one, funny corrective training. And you know, corrective training, I think it's all really dependent on the soldier of uh, how bad it affects them, or like funny as in like when I was a private man, you can make me do push-ups and all this and that, and I wouldn't care. I wasn't gonna learn. I mean, I liked working out, so I was like, all right, well, cool, whatever. I mean, I'm gonna work out anyway, so might as well get a session here. Which is not the right thought process, but you know, when I was a fucking knucklehead. But funny, oh man, I was a private, and I was in Iraq, and I was ground guiding a vehicle, and I was kind of like half-assing it because the mission was done, and I was kind of just like, yeah, like, back it up, whatever. And my fucking team leader saw me just like, you know, just kind of like just move my hand like, yeah, whatever, keep going back. And he's like, you know, maybe I probably did a couple of things before that made him upset, but he was like, yo, you know, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not how you ground guide a vehicle. What happens if someone's back there, or you can cause, you know, an accident, or so on and so on. So he's like, you know, fucking, until I tell you to fucking stop, ground guide yourself everywhere you go. Which was fucking, so there I am, like the only motherfucker in Iraq ground guiding myself as I'm walking everywhere. So if I'm going to the chow hall, I gotta go like this. I'm making my turn to wash my laundry, you know, and it fucking, dude, I was ground guiding myself for I don't know how long. And everyone's just looking at me like, what the fuck is this kid doing? You know, so to me that was funny. So fucked up, so embarrassing. But, you know, fucking whatever. You know, when did you join Ranger Battalion and why? And a lot of you guys, I'm not sure if you know, but I think if you're in the military and you see some of my pictures and some of my posts, you can kind of understand or see that I was regular Army first. I didn't join Regiment right away, you know, because I mean, just like most civilians, I didn't know what Regiment was. I didn't really know the difference between a Ranger and you know, Special Forces and SEALs and stuff like that. I was 11. Yeah, I was 6th grade, so I think 11, 12. When 9/11 happened, so, you know, I remember feeling like, you know, I remember feeling bad that I couldn't join and help, you know, which is a very strange thing to, I guess, to be thinking about when you're that young. But I was watching a lot of military channel. The number one thing that I saw that, you know, was killing soldiers was IEDs. You know, I didn't really know what an IED was, but I was like, these bombs just keep killing and hurting soldiers. So I walked into the recruiter's office, and I remember I was so nervous when I was thinking about my, you know, my spiel that I was gonna fucking tell them, and you know, I said something along the lines like, "Hi, my name is Angel Cortez, and I want to join, and I see that IEDs are the number one thing that kills soldiers out there, and I want to do something to stop that. You know, maybe look for them if that's a thing, or you know, or the people, go after the people." And my recruiter, now I know, you know, at the time I didn't know, but he was this combo guy. He was a combo specialist or whatever, and he spent some time in Korea, and he told me, well, you can be EOD, or you can be a combat engineer. And I was like, okay. And then he told me the pathways for both, and right away I was like, there's no way I'm going to make EOD, because I mean, in school I didn't care anything about, I failed everything but math and PE, I didn't care about science, English, or whatever. So when he was telling me that there's a lot of schooling to do for EOD, I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna make EOD, at the time. And then so I was like, yo, combat engineer, and I became a combat engineer. And 6 months later, I found myself in Iraq, looking for IEDs and going to some specialized schools to look for IEDs, and there was that. And then uh, there was this opportunity when I came back from Iraq. I decided to regular army's cool. There is a lot of top quality and top notch soldiers out there, that will never make a push towards special operations. They feel like they need to be in the regular army, and that's their place. For example, there was this one squad leader. He fucking top squad leader of probably the whole company, and very athletic, very smart, cared about our soldiers more than he cared about himself. And one day I asked him, I was like, why don't you? I think you can go into like SF, huh? Like, why don't you just go, and why are you here? And he said, he said something along the lines like, this is my place. This is where they need me. They need me here, and I like it. I like my job. And that right there made him, like, so much cooler to me. And knowing that he could easily just gone into special operations and not have to worry about a lot of the stuff that goes on in the regular army, but he realized that, like, this is my spot. Like, this is where I can do the most good, help out. It's a very unselfish thing of him. And there are some dudes who make their push into special operations, and after, like, a lot of the dudes I looked up to eventually, sooner or later, joined SF, Regiment, or went, EOD or something like that. But I came back from Iraq, and then there was this talk that we would work with SF. And I highly recommend everybody, if you're thinking about joining, if you're already in and you haven't read it, read One Tribe at a Time. It's this document that's online. This SF guy, Major Jim Gant wrote that, and read it. It's not that long. It's doable. Read it, and so we were part of that. We got to be embedded with SF and do the whole village stability operations, and and when we got to this team, this area was hot. We got there and it was the end of their rotation, and they had lost 4 dudes. So and we got there during winter, so they told us, like, hey, springtime, be ready. Be ready here. And I remember thinking, at the time I was a specialist. I was thinking, like, what, like, yeah, man, I'm ready. I had no idea that what I was asking for, I was gonna get, and more. I think by the time we left, so many of us got wounded. I don't know how nobody died, specifically with my team. We had other, sister teams or groups from just like on the other side of the valley that weren't so lucky. But long story short, some of these SF guys used to be in Regiment. So I thought about going to SF when I came back from Iraq, and then I had this opportunity to deploy with them, and some of them used to be in Regiment, and they told me more about Regiment and Special Forces, and they were they didn't talk bad about anything. They gave me the pros and cons of both, and I leaned more towards SF because I was with them at the time. But the more I thought about it, it just sounded like Regiment was more for me, and it had to do with I lost a lot of friends, that were with other teams, and the training path, or the not the training path, what is it, the pipeline for SF was it's not super long, but it's just longer than Regiment. And then I'm so used to the regular Army's way that, you know, Regiment has platoons and squads and stuff like that. So it was something I affiliated myself more with. So that was a factor. The pipeline was shorter, which I thought it was going to be shorter, but because I was regular Army, it turned out to be just as long. You know, and because of my friends dying, I just wanted to come back. I just wanted to come back to Afghanistan and, you know, and kill as many as I could, which, you know, I mean, it wasn't going to bring back my friends, but it didn't change the fact that that's how I felt. You know, because there's a little, for example, you know, there's a little girl who's, I mean, I guess not that little anymore, but, you know, she's never going to see her dad, and, you know, that crushed my heart, you know, and, you know, I mean, so I came back, and I went through, I dropped my Rasp packet, and because I was regular Army, and by then I was an NCO, my pipeline to become to go into Regiment. So like, so it says, how did you make it through Rasp or RIP? Well, normally I think you just go to basic training, airborne school, and then you go through Rasp. But because I was a regular Army, and by then I was an NCO, and my MOS, I was a combat engineer, I had to, my pipeline was a little bit different and a little bit longer. So for example, you know, they told me you can't recycle, and if you get hurt, you know, you're gonna get sent back to your unit. Like, that's, you got a one try, one shot. So I had to do, and this was in the order. I had to do Rasp, airborne school, master breacher, cert, and then ranger school. Yeah, Rasp, airborne school, master breacher, cert, and then ranger school. So I did all that in 1 year, and then I got my a permanent spot, you know, because after I made Rasp, like, yeah, I was a ranger, but I wasn't done, and then I had to do airborne school, so I did that, and then because of my MOS and me being an NCO and the my job I was going to do in Regiment, I had to go to master breacher, specifically regimental master breachers, which is special operations master breaching school that, you know, I mean, only special operation guys get to go. So I went to that, and then I did the cert, which is, people call it like a pre-ranger, but I mean, it's 2 weeks, and they, you know, fucking, the toughest 12 mile I've ever done in my life was at cert. I mean, the cadre at the time were preparing us, and just, I don't want to say smoking us or anything like that, but like, they were really getting us prepared for ranger school. With that, when I did the 12 miler in ranger school, that 12 miler was like cake. A lot of the stuff was pretty easy. I mean, not easy, but, you know, cert really did prepare us, which is small unit ranger tactics, and then I did ranger school, and then when I came back from ranger school, then I had a permanent spot to stay in Regiment. So to answer your question, man, I mean, I think from what I hear and see, normally if you have a ranger contract from the get-go, you have to do, you know, your OSET, which is your basic training, and AIT, and then you have to do RASP, and then airborne school, or airborne school and then RASP. I know they're switching it because I saw it myself. There's some dudes who say yes to the contract, to the ranger contract, and for whatever reason, they just say, you know what, screw RASP. I got airborne school out of the way, and then when I get to pre-RASP, I'm just gonna fucking quit, which I saw a lot of dudes do. So to stop that, I know they were trying to do the whole, like, hey man, if you got a fucking ranger contract, you're gonna go to RASP first, and then airborne school. You know, because a lot of dudes were just using it to fucking, well, not a lot, but a handful of dudes were using it to just get airborne school, and then, you know, fucking, it's their way of cheating the system, I guess, and cheating themselves. Um, Battalion day-to-day life, you know. Battalion, look, so me being in the regular army, and then going to regiment, dude, I'll tell you, day-to-day life in regiment is different. Personally, I found it better. Um, and there's no such thing as day-to-day life, because it's more like cycles, you know. When you're about to deploy, you're training constantly. It's the best training and the most high tense, high quality training with high caliber individuals, soldiers, you know, like, that I've ever experienced in my entire career. I was in the army for 8 years, a little under 8 years, and you know, you're going, like, if you want training, and you want to do all that high speed, fucking cool guy shit, like the recruiters show you in the videos, dude. You know, I didn't go to, I haven't been in the pipeline to be a raider or a SEAL or, you know, an SF guy, but in regiment, like, you're gonna fucking get it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna shoot so much that by the end of the day, you know, you're like, fuck, I've never shot this much in my entire life. Um, and, you know, you're gonna be blowing things up that you're like, fuck, like, dude, like, I thought we'd be done. We're still going. And I loved it. I loved it all, but it was just so much more I was like, oh shit, like, I'm everything that I wanted, I got in regiment. You know, the training, the jumps, the everything. Um, you know, so it's not more day to day. I can't really answer that question like, oh, this is how it is day to day, but it's more like cycles. When you're about to deploy, expect to be training a lot, you know? And then when you come back, dude, you're going to rest, you're going to relax, you're going to, you know, you're going to get family time, and then, you know, you'll go to school. So if you want schools, and you are dedicated and you really want to do this or that, of course you have to do certain requirements first, but then after that, dude, you can go, you know. After I did my pipeline, and I had, you know, I wanted to go to cyber school, and cyber school was cool, but, you know, they didn't have to send me. There's no reason for me to go, and they, you know, they did my packet and everything. You know, unfortunately I didn't go because, um, you know, I was an assistant instructor, because the first time I went to Master Breacher, the Regiment of Master Breacher, I was a student, and then the next time I went, I was an AI, which is an instructor, and, you know, they told me like, yo, dude, you're about to get out, which by the way answers another question. You know, what made you get out? Well, you know, I had a kid when I was in Afghanistan, and I didn't get to see my boy be born. And then same with my girl, you know, I was gone. So I met both of them almost around the same time when they were like 5 weeks old. And so when I was at Regiment Master Breacher, as being an assistant instructor, I got a call like, hey, dude, we got an email, or I think it was a call, saying you're 9 months out and you need to either re-up or you know, start ACAPing. And I was so caught up in being in a regiment that I had no idea I was getting out, or I was close to getting out, and I thought I was gonna be a lifer. Everybody was like, "Yo, dude, you're a lifer." Like, from the get go, when I was a private, they're like, "Dude, you are a lifer." And I don't know, you know, when they would say that, I never thought about getting out. I just thought about it as like, this is what I'm doing right now, and this is what I'm focused on, and then I had other goals I wanted to achieve, and they were all in the military. So, but it all changed when I had kids, and it's different. You know, I can't tell you, you know, to get out for this reason or that reason. It's all different for everybody on why they want to get out. And me personally, when I had kids, it changed everything. My life wasn't about me anymore. It was about them, and what was best for them is what I was doing. So I was trying to, and for myself as well. Like, I loved the military. I loved everything, and for the most part, and um, I just went to schools. I went to this. I went to that. So I can go higher in rank, get paid more, be more successful in my career, uh, which would, trickle down onto my family and kids. So, but the thing it was this SF when I was in Afghanistan with Special Forces. This chief, he'd been in SF for longer than I was alive at the time. I was 23, and I remember my son was just born, and and they were gonna give me time to go see him, and he told me something that never left me, and on top of other things, about myself and my upbringing that made me want to get out. And he told me, I remember it was a slow day, and he told me, "You want to know something? My daughter's about to get married." And I remember saying, like, "Yo, like, congrats, man, that's awesome." But he was talking to me, but he wasn't looking at me, and he was kind of just looking out the distance. And he said, "You want to know something? I don't really know the guy." He's like, I've gone out to dinner and I've met him, but I don't really know that guy, and I really don't know my daughter. I've been away for so long that I don't know anything about my kids. I don't. If you ask me what's their favorite color, what's their favorite food, I can't answer any of that. I've just missed so much. And when he said that, obviously it hurt him, but I think he was maybe warning me, maybe just as advice, like, don't do that. I mean, if you choose what you're doing, that's what's gonna happen. That's the reality, and that's a choice every individual who's in the military has to make. The more you progress in your career and you achieve things, in reality is you will miss some life events. As in, for example, uh, I love my sister, and I never saw her pregnant. And one day I showed up and she had a baby. I was gone for so long. When you come home, your family members are getting older and older, and every time you come back, because unless you go back consistently, I wouldn't go back every year, maybe every once a year or 2 years, and every time I would come home, I would expect to see my mom to be the way I left her, and she wasn't like that. She was older and older, and my kids are getting older, and my upbringing of not having the best parents, I didn't want to be like that. I mean, I wasn't like, at the time, how my parents were. I wasn't like them, but I was still gone, and I didn't want to be gone. And I told my wife, I promise, when we have kids, I will be there for their first day of school. And then at the same time, so when they made that call, or when I was in Regimental Master Breacher, like, hey, dude, you have to re-up or you have to get out. And then at the time, I made that promise a long time ago to my wife, and it was time to pay, pay that price or make up, do what I said I was going to do. So I thought about it for 2-3 weeks, and then I looked at my wife, and she'd supported me for so many years, and helped me out so much, that I couldn't be selfish. And if there was two of me, I would have one stay in and then one get out. But she supported me so much through so much stuff, and I was like, okay, it's time to go home. So I did that. I got out. Of course, I miss it. I think about it all the time. It feels like I was in there just yesterday, and I got out in 2016, and it's 2018. So that was another question. Why did you get out? talk about your time in regiment. You know, it's awesome, dude. I mean, of course, there's some bad things about it. You know, it's not all gravy and fucking heaven. Um, you know, and then why did you join or why did you get out? I think I answered that. Uh, and then once in a while, I get a good question when it's so when the suck kicks in. How do you do to keep going? And that is a great fucking question. And you keep going. You have to have your own motivation. Call it balls. Call it heart, motivation, dedication, whatever it is you want to call it, man. Um, you honestly, in my opinion, I mean, can you build your mental strength? Of course you can, but when you're in something like Rasp or Ranger School, and honestly, and maybe I'll change my mind later on, but it's either you have it or you don't. And if you fail the first time, that doesn't mean you don't have it. And it meaning like what it takes to fucking become it. Um, Sometimes it's bad luck, I guess, you know. You get hurt or whatever. But you just have to keep going, which is true because like you can be motivated and fucking be all pumped up and go do a sick ass workout. Um, but anybody can do that. But what are you going to do when you're fucking depleted, when you're not being fed, you have little to no sleep? What are you going to do? So that's when heart kicks in. You know, that's when either you have it or you don't. You're going to keep going or you don't. And one thing that I can tell you is that the suck doesn't last forever. It doesn't. It stops. And all you have, in my opinion, what did I do personally? I just thought, I didn't think about how long this thing was. I just thought about the moment. All I have to do, and it sounds corny and lame, but like, dude, like it's as simple as I'm saying it, but at the same time, it's fucking hard when you're actually in it. You just have to worry about that step. So take another step, take another step. And then if something hurts, your back hurts, your knee hurts, your shoulder hurts, be like, obviously you can't neglect the fucking pain. Think about the pain or whatever, but just say, I just have to go here and this step and that step and this. And you're sucking and you're misery. And all you have to do is think about the moment. Don't think about like, fuck, this is gonna last forever. I won't be able to fucking do it. And sometimes I did think about that, like, fuck, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it because this hurts or that hurts. And I'm thinking about it and thinking about it. Next thing you know, we stopped and we're done. And I'm like, I was thinking about it for so long and it just fucking stopped. But you need motivation. And you can't just have one category or one pocket that you pull out of, do it for your thing. So you have to have different categories and I say this because sometimes it may not work for that instant. Like I would think personally, I'm going to do it because I want to and this is who I am. And then other times I would think about, people said I never fucking could do anything. I'm this short, poor Mexican who's told who won't be shit in life, who can't do anything, and that's my future. And then other times we're like thinking about the people who do believe in me, or thinking about, if I would quit, how can I be there with my son, and how can I look at him and tell him something about don't quit or keep going when I fucking did it. If I don't make something, it's because I legit couldn't fucking do it. Not because I gave up, not because I gave up. I fucking get hurt, and so hurt that you just fucking like, yo, dude, you physically can't do it, but don't give up. And because you can either endure pain for a little while and live your life with that achievement, or you can not endure the pain, mental and physical pain, for a little while and have to live for the rest of your life knowing that you quit. And by the way, dude, like, I don't have any special powers or anything or skills or whatever where success is just fucking straight. No, man, the journey to achieving your goals is up and down. It's a fucking roller coaster, dude. Once when you think you're so high, you're gonna feel so fucking low, and then high, and then low. But the thing is, you might feel low, but you're gonna keep going, and it fucking sounds lame as fuck, but dude, if you believe in yourself and you don't give up and you keep going, and if you fucking fail, you just get back up, recover, build yourself up, and go again, you will have this sense of pride that, and you will achieve your fucking goals, man. It sounds as corny as fuck, but if you believe in yourself and you keep going, you're going to achieve all that. You know, you're going to, obviously, to a certain extent, like, for example, I love basketball. I'm not going to be in the fucking NBA. I suck at basketball. You know, I'm fucking 5'6". There's no way I'm fucking dunking on LeBron. You know? In my dreams, maybe, but, dude, like, realistic dreams. But that doesn't mean that, you know, a 5'6" poor, you know, fucking malnourished fucking dude can't be a ranger. Obviously, I had to work hard and had a lot of ups and downs, but it's possible, man. So, you know, don't give up on your dreams and just keep at it. And if you give your 100 and fucking 10%, like, whatever the outcome may be, when you can't cheat yourself and you can't lie to yourself. You can lie to the world and you can cheat other people, but at the end of the day, you know if you gave it your all or not. And if you gave it your all, then you should be proud of yourself of however far or whatever you did complete.